Hi everyone, this is Algebra 2, Lesson 1, and this lesson covers polygons, triangles, transversals, and proportional segments. Polygons. So a polygon is a simple, flat, closed geometric figure whose sides are straight lines. So to draw a polygon, it's basically going to be any closed shape with straight sides. So a triangle is a polygon, except I did that wiggly. Let's see. Let's see. A square is a polygon. Okay, or a rectangle, or we could have a triangle as a polygon, or okay, but they can't have rounded sides, so a circle is not a polygon. Okay, or if you had, let's say, straight sides and then a rounded side, it would not be a polygon. And it can't have lines that cross each other like that. That's not a polygon. Okay, it can't have an open side like that. That's not a polygon because it's not closed. Okay. A concave polygon, basically it has a cave in it. So here's our cave. A convex polygon is just one that doesn't have a cave, so any regular shape. So like that would be convex, that one would be convex, that one would be convex. An irregular polygon is one whose sides are not all the same. So let's say that we have an irregular quadrilateral. All the sides are different. And a regular polygon is one who does have sides all the same, like that triangle right there. They have all their sides the same and all their angles the same. Okay, so like that would be regular. Okay, we name polygons for the number of sides, so triangle is 3 sides. 4 sides is a quadrilateral. 5 sides is a pentagon. 6 sides is a hexagon. 8 sides is an octagon. And you get the drift. Alright, so that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be a regular octagon like you're used to seeing, like or a regular hexagon like a stop sign. Okay, used to seeing a stop sign that looks like that. It could be something that looks like, see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's also a hexagon because it has 6 sides. My stop sign looks terrible. Let me try that again. Something like that. Alright. And all those diagrams with pictures, much better than mine, are on page 19 of your textbook. So always follow along in your textbook as I'm doing these videos. Alright, triangles. A right triangle is a triangle with one right angle. So let me try doing that with a line tool. Okay. So it has one angle that is a right angle, meaning that this corner right here is a square corner. That one's a right triangle. Okay. An obtuse triangle has one obtuse angle. So like that. So our obtuse angle would be right here, making this an obtuse triangle. And an acute triangle has all acute angles. So none of those are obtuse, they're all small angles. So that is acute. A cute little bitty one. Alright, the sum of the measure of three angles of any triangle is 180. So that's super important to know. We're going to be using that a lot. So 180 degrees is if you add up all the angles, this one plus this one plus this one, it's going to equal 180. Same thing here. This one and this one and this one will equal 180. And then all three of these will equal 180. Okay. The greatest angle is opposite the longest side. So here's our longest side. Okay, so that means that's going to be our greatest angle. The shortest side is going to be opposite the smallest angle. Okay, let's say that this one's our smallest. And that is opposite from this side. Actually, let me do that in another color. So here's our smallest angle. And it's going to be opposite this side, so this will be the smallest side. Okay. The angles opposite sides of equal length have equal measure. Alright, so let's go over that one more time on this triangle down here. So our largest angle is going to be, let's figure out what this one is first. So if they all have to equal 180, we've got 80 and 60 already. That'd be 140. That means this one has to be 40 right there. We can add them back up again. 60 and 40 would be 100, and 80 would be another, would make it 180. Alright, so that means this is our smallest angle. So this one has to be our smallest side. Okay. And then our largest angle is going to be this 80-degree angle right here. And that's opposite from this side, so that'll have to be our largest side. Alright, the next one says angles opposite sides of equal length have equal measure. Okay, so that means this side, we use these tick marks to show that they're equal. This side and this side are equal. Well, this F right here is opposite to that side, and then this one's opposite angle is D. That means F and D are equal. Okay. Alright, so this kind of triangle with no equal sides is called a scaling triangle. No equal sides or equal angles. This one has two equal sides and two equal angles. And that's called an isosceles triangle. And this is all three are equal, and that's an equilateral triangle. Now, if all three of these are equal and they have to equal 180, that means we have three angles, and they all have to be equal to each other. So we're just going to take 180 and divide it by 3. And that means that all three of these equal 60 degrees. Okay? Alright, so this first example problem asks us to find x and y. Alright, so this side relates to that angle, and this side relates to that angle, meaning that those two bottom angles are equal. That means that x is going to equal whatever the other bottom angle is, which is 50. So x equals 50. So if this is 50 over here, and that's 50 over there, that gives us 100. That means y has to equal 80, because they all have to add up to 180. So the bottom two are going to make 100, and then y would make 80. Find x and y on this one. Alright, on this one we have a reflex angle, and that's going to be this angle here. It's outside of our triangle. It's 150. We know a straight line, right, is 180. Okay? If that's 150 and that's 180, we can figure out what's left would be this tiny part right here. That'd be x. So we'd have 180 take away 150 is going to equal 30. Okay, so now if we have 30 and 40, that would be 70. We've got 180 minus 70. We're going to get 110. We can double check that to make sure. We can say 30 plus 40 plus 110. 347 plus 1 is 8, and we get 180, so we know that we're right. Okay, those are pretty simple, and you've probably done those before. This is mostly review. Alright, this one says, this is an equilateral triangle, find D. Okay, so we know when we have an equilateral triangle that all of these have to be equal to each other. All of these angles are equal to each other. Now this angle right here is C. Okay, they all have to add up together to make 180. So we have 180 divided by 3 angles. And that would be 60. So that means B equals 60, A equals 60, and C is also equal to 60. Okay. Well, we know this whole part right here would be 180, right? So I've got too much stuff going on down here. Let me try to clean that up a little bit. There we go. Okay, so this part, right, is C, and that's 60. And then all the way straight across would be 180. So to find D, right here, we have 180 is the whole thing, minus 60, which would be 120. So D equals 120. So just remember, all of the angles in a triangle equal 180, and a straight line equals 180. Alright, next part is about transversals. And that's a big scary word, but it's actually really easy. A transversal is a line that cuts or intersects 2 or more lines. So that would be this one, right? Because it's cutting through. That line is cutting through 2 or more lines. Okay? If a transversal intersects 2 or more lines that are parallel, and if the transversal is perpendicular to one of the lines, it is perpendicular to all of the parallel lines. Now these little marks right here, these little half arrows, little bitty arrows, those tell us that all these lines are perpendicular. Now if this is, all those lines are parallel, right? They're all going exactly the same. Alright, if this is perpendicular to that one, that means it has to be perpendicular to that one and to that one. Okay. Now, if we shift that and we make it not be perpendicular, it's slanty, then that means we're going to have 2 pairs of, or we're going to have 2 sizes of angles. Some of them will be 90 or more than 90, right? So one size will be more than 90, okay? And so that's going to be your big angles. And your small angles are going to be, oops, I did that wrong. Your big angles are going to be greater than 90, and your small angles are going to be less than 90. Alright, so let's figure out what that means. if we look at this, we can see that this one is more than 90, so that's our big angle, and that's going to be equal to all the other big angles in the entire figure. Okay, those are all going to be equal. And then your small angles that are less than 90 are all going to be equal to each other. So that one to that one, and that one to that one. Those are all your smalls. Okay? So you're only going to have two numbers for that entire figure. Alright, so let's look at this one. It asks us to find A, B, and C. On this one, we have two lines, M and N, that are perpendicular to each other. Parallel to each other. So that means that this is a transversal. Okay? That means we're going to have two pairs of angles. We're going to have our big angles, and I'm going to go ahead and mark all on my big angles with pink. Okay? And then we're going to have our small angles. I'll mark those with blue. There's a small one, there's a small one. There's a small one, there's a small one. Well, we already know our small right here is 60. Okay, so all the ones marked with blue are going to be 60. That means C is also 60. Alright, so C equals 60 because it's marked with blue. Now A and B are going to be the same as each other because they're both big angles, right? Both marked with pink. But we got to figure out what they are. Well, if we look right here, we have a straight line, okay? And we've got A, so our straight line's 180, right? And then we've got A and 60. So we just got to do 180 minus 60. And we're going to get 120 for our big angles. So that means that you only have two sizes, big ones and small ones. I think in the book it uses L and S for large and small. Alright, when three or more lines are cut by transversals, the lengths of the corresponding segments of the transversals are proportional. This means that the lengths of the segments of one transversal are related to the lengths of the corresponding segments of the other transversal by a number called the scale factor. Okay, so what that means is that some of these chunks, we're not talking about angles anymore, now we're talking about lengths, are going to be related to the other lengths. So this length right here, from there to there, is going to be related to this length, okay? And this length, from here to here, is going to be related to this length, from there to there, okay? So by what's called a scale factor. Alright, so this sounds hard, but it's actually super easy. So what we're going to do is we're going to say 2, from right here, there's our 2, times our scale factor equals 3, right? Now we just figure out what our scale factor is. So we just divide like a regular algebra problem, and our scale factor is 3 over 2. So now to figure out this one, we're going to say 3 times our scale factor is going to equal whatever this is. We already know the answer, but let's pretend it's x. Okay? Well, if our scale factor is 3 over 2, we would say 3 times 3 over 2 equals x, right? And if we do that, we're going to get 3 times 3 is 9. 1 times 2 is 2. 9 over 2. And that's how we find this one. Alright, I'll give you another example of that. The arrowheads indicate that the lines are parallel. Find x. Okay, so we have our 2, which is going to be related to this 8 over 3. Okay, and then we have our 5, which is going to be proportional to x. Alright, and we have to find x. So to do that, we're going to find our scale factor first. First, we have to find the scale factor. So we're going to say 2, that's this 2 right here, times the scale factor equals the one that it's related to, 8 over 3. Okay, now we have to try to find the scale factor. So we're going to divide it by 2, divided by 2. It's really 2 over 1. We just flip it and multiply. Right? So we're going to get 8 over 6, which would reduce to 4 over 3. Okay, another way to do that, shorter, simpler. Okay, so I've got 2 times my scale factor equals 8 over 3. When I have a fraction here, all I have to do is turn that into a fraction and then flip and multiply. Instead of divided by 2, I'm going to do times 1/2 because they mean the same thing. Okay, and then I can cancel right here, and I get 4 over 3. So my scale factor equals 4 over 3. Now I just multiply this one down here times the scale factor to find out the other side. So this 5 times our scale factor. So 5 over 1 times our scale factor, right, which is 4 over 3. And I'm going to get, times 4 is 5 times 4 would be 20, and 1 times 3 would be 3. So that means x equals 20 over 3. Okay, so there are 2 steps. First, you're going to multiply here to here. Here times your scale factor equals that. So you got to figure out what your scale factor is. Then you're going to multiply your scale factor to figure out that. Okay, so you multiply that times your scale factor to figure out your x. All right. See what's next. Practice problems. Go ahead and pause the video and work the practice problems, and then I'll come back and work them for you. Alright, so hopefully pause that video so you can work these. And now let's see if you got them right. Alright, so this M and this little angle sign right here, it just means the measure of angle A. Okay? Don't let it be confusing. It really just means the same thing as A equals 35. Okay? So this is 35 degrees. Find C and B. So we need the measure of angle C equals, and then we need the measure of angle B equals. Alright, if this one's 35, let's see, we've got 2 sides that are equal. So that is related to C, and that is also equal, and that's related to our 35 right there. That means A and C are equal. Well, if 35 is A, that means C has to also equal 35. Okay, that part was easy. Now, if we added 35 and 35, we're going to get 70. And we know we have to have 180. So we subtract our 70, and we get 110. So B, right here, is going to be 110. Pretty simple on that one. All right, let's try another one. Find x and y. Okay, so this one, none of our angles are equal. It looks like a scalene triangle. All right, we've got this one's 40. Okay, we have to find this one first. Now we know straight all the way across, like from here to here, is 180. And we've got 145 right there. That's 145. So we need to find what's left, what x is, in this little chunk, right? So we've got 180, take away 145. And that's going to be 35 degrees. Okay, so now we have to add these two together that we know to figure out what y is. So if we've already got 40 and 35, we put those together, we get 75, and then the whole thing has to equal 180, so we'll take our 75 away from 180, and we're going to get 105. So y equals 105. Okay, here's one where we have pairs of angles. So the first thing I'm going to do is mark my large and my small. I'm going to mark my big ones all with dark blue or with light blue. Okay, so those are all going to be equal to each other. And then I'm going to use this yellow to mark my smalls. Okay, so all those angles are my small angles. So A is a small. All the rest that I have to find are big ones. So to find A, we know that if we go straight across this, right, that's going to be 180. So we need 180, take away 130. Because this big one is 130. And that's going to be 50. So that means A equals 50. We still have to find B and C. Okay, C is a little easier because it's just a blue, right? And our blue is 130. So C is 130. Wait, I think I got something wrong here. Wait, hang on. Did I write that problem right? Oh, my C's in the wrong spot. Haha. Okay, let me fix that. My C is supposed to be up here. There we go. Okay, so that means C is a yellow. So our yellows are the same as A, which is 50, right? So that means that, oops, let me do that in yellow. All our yellows are 50. If A is 50, that means C is also 50. Okay, now I just have to figure out what B is. Now we know B, that this angle right here, our blue angle, our big angle, is 130, right? That means 2 times B is 130, so we write 2B equals 130. Now we just solve for B. So we divide by 2, and we're going to get 130 divided by 2, 6 times 2 is 12, 65. Okay, so that is the answer to that one. A is 50, B is 65, and C is 50. All right, one more. This one is a scale factor one, and we have to try to find X. All right, so this, right, times our scale factor equals that one. Okay, so we're going to say 3 over 4 times our scale factor equals 5 over 3. To solve for our scale factor, we're just going to flip and multiply. Okay, these cancel, and I get scale factor equals 5 times 4 is 20, and 3 times 3 is 9. So we got 20 over 9. Now we need to multiply times our scale factor, right, to find X. So we're going to say 6 over 5 times our scale factor, which is 20 over 9, equals X. So now we just have to multiply. I can cancel right here. 5 times 4 is 20, and then right here will be 2, and that will be a 3. 2 times 4 is 8. 1 times 3 is 3. 8 over 3 is what X equals. And that is the answer to that one. Alright, hope that made sense to everybody. Thanks for watching.